Chul. There's something you've spoken your whole life without noticing that every time you do, you're not only speaking, you're designing reality. Two tiny words, so ordinary, so frequent, we never doubt them. We use them to reveal our feelings, to express our thoughts, to state who we are. Yet beneath their plainness hides one of the most potent spiritual technologies you will ever face. I am. Reflect on how often those words pass your lips. I am weary. I am broke. Chul, I am not skilled. I am simply struggling to survive. Or maybe I am resilient. I am mending. I am prepared. Many believe these are just statements, harmless expressions of circumstance, Chul. But they're not. Every time you utter I am, you transmit a command to your subconscious and deliver an instruction to the quantum field. You're not describing life, Chul. You're electing it. The words I am operate as the interface between your identity and the infinite realities around you. They are not comments. They are activations, Chul. And science is starting to converge with what sages have always said. When you pronounce I am, you're not waiting for change. You are stepping into a resonance, and that resonance turns into your life. The real question is, are you using this capacity deliberately or automatically? Let's root this in something tangible, Chul. You've likely heard of the placebo effect. When someone swallows a sugar pill, but since they believe it's medicine, their body begins repairing. What's happening at that moment? It's not just belief, it's identity. The person isn't merely thinking, I hope this heals. Something deeper within begins declaring, I am healing, and that identity sparks physiological change, observable, repeatable, documented. Now take that same principle and stretch it beyond health into love, money, mission. For every aspect of your existence mirrors who you believe you are, not who you hope to become. That's the crucial difference. You don't draw in what you wish for. You draw in what your nervous system has been conditioned to accept as I am. Positive thoughts alone aren't enough. That's surface talk. The deeper task is reshaping the subconscious identity pattern guiding 95% of your emotions, habits, and responses, Chul. And that framework is endlessly reinforced by the I am declarations you whisper aloud or silently every day. From a quantum view, this lines up perfectly. The observer effect shows that the act of observing a particle determines its motion, but what shapes what you observe? Your awareness, your assumptions, your sense of self. So when you affirm I am, you are syncing conscious and unconscious mind with a distinct version of reality. That synchrony begins collapsing the wave of limitless probabilities into one concrete path, the very one you summoned. And this is not just abstract philosophy, it's your neurology, Chul. Neuroscience shows that repetitive thoughts, when charged with feeling, carve neural pathways that solidify who we become, Chul. But the brain doesn't tell the difference between a limiting I am and an empowering one. It only executes. It only builds the world you keep signaling. So, what signals are you sending? You see, I am is not an affirmation. It's a broadcast of frequency. And your frequency cannot lie. You might repeat I am prosperous endlessly, but if your inner wiring hums lack, the field reflects lack. That's why this practice isn't about parroting phrases. It's about embodying identity. When you speak I am with full coherence, when mind, heart, Chul, and body align, you turn magnetic, not to chance events, but to the exact vibration equal to the self you declared. And that's the point of this message, Chul. Because if you keep saying I am unconsciously from past wounds, limits, or conditioning, you'll keep calling in realities that hurt you. But when you wake up, when you begin shaping your I am with intention and energy, everything transforms. In the next phase, we'll explore more deeply how the quantum responds to self-image, Chul. How the I am frequency truly functions at a subatomic scale, and why words alone are empty unless you merge with the version of you that feels them, breathes them, lives them. But for now, pause, take a slow breath, and ask what have I been telling creation I am? Because that story is the life I am living. To see why I am carries such force, Chul, we need to enter the place where science and spirit finally unite, the quantum realm. It's here, in the unseen web of potential, that identity is not just mental, it's vibrational, Chul. And the truth is, you've always been collapsing worlds with your awareness. You just weren't steering it on purpose. Let's begin with a central principle in quantum physics, the observer effect. This rule explains that simply observing an event shifts its result on the quantum stage. Electrons, for instance, exist as clouds of probabilities, waves of possibility, until they are observed. The instant attention is placed, measured, or focused, the wave collapses into a particle, a fixed spot, a defined reality. In simple terms, awareness produces the frame for manifestation. Now project that into your life. Your focus, your attention, your expectations. They aren't idle thoughts, they're quantum observation, and nothing reveals your focus more than the words I am. Because when you speak I am, you're not only observing, you're identifying, you're locking into a version of self, and the field shifts accordingly. You're not simply the observer, you're the chooser. And this is the very place people stumble. They attempt to manifest by concentrating on objects they want, wealth, romance, healing. But desire isn't observation. Hoping isn't declaring. The field doesn't respond to hopes, it responds to being. And being is expressed every time you whisper or feel, I am. This is the line between idle intent and active coherence. You could repeat I am wealthy 100 times. But if your internal state hums with scarcity, the wave cannot collapse into wealth. The resonance is mismatched. The field isn't confused, it mirrors you. That's why Joe Dispenza says your personality builds your personal reality. Your feelings, thoughts, and actions generate an electromagnetic signal that interfaces with the quantum field. And at the very core of that signal sits your identity, your I am. Think of it as tuning a radio. The broadcast you hear depends on the dial you set. You don't receive 104.7 FM while tuned to 87.3. It's not personal, it's physics. Similarly, you cannot receive love, serenity, or prosperity if your self is tuned to fear, doubt, or lack. Now here's where it becomes even more potent. Physicist John Wheeler proposed that reality is not fixed awaiting observation, it is participatory. He said, we live in a participatory universe, meaning reality is unfinished until we engage with it. Your awareness isn't just along for the ride, it's the sculptor, and I am is the tool.